what this debate finally comes down to is two major themes. The first being that religion is not dogma. Religion in modern society is a fluid thing that changes, and this is essentially what my partner talked about in her extension. And the second theme that came up in this debate is the effects of this resolution on the political system. It's these two that I will be explaining in my whip today. Now on to this first theme of the fact that religion is not dogma. Now ladies and gentlemen, the back half of the proposition has come up here and talked about the fact that the Pope's words are the words of God, and that no one can go against these if they believe in a religion. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what they're saying is that they're saying that the Pope will use fear tactics to get people to vote for something. But ladies and gentlemen, what we can see is that the Pope has explicitly said that if you are gay, you will go to hell. But there are still great gay Christians, gay Catholics in the world today. What we can see is that people do not denounce their religion or denounce their views because the Pope says something. And if they do believe that the Pope's word is the word of God, then those people are already very, very Orthodox Christians and should affiliate themselves with the views of the Pope already. And if they're not Orthodox Christians, if they are secular, if they have a more secular view on their religion, then they should have the ability to be fluid. They should have the ability to protect their own views. And this is what my partner talked about in her extension. She said that within a church, within a religion, that free discourse is allowed. That if you go into a church and you believe in abortion, then you should have the ability to argue with your pastor, to have that opinion and to defend that opinion within your church. And if you have, I'll take you in a second, if you have that, then you should be able to use that to make your political decisions. Yes?
Madam Speaker, my partner already brought this up in appeal. I would love to refresh it again. So would you then support teachers telling their students how to vote?
Okay, on that point, I was just about to get to that. When parents send their children to school, when you send your child to a public school, right, you're buying into a secular environment, and that is why you don't want your child to be influenced by your teacher. If you make the choice to send your child to Catholic school, then the teacher will obviously be promoting a religious view. But the parents have made this decision. The people that enter into a religious group make this decision to be in that religious group. And for that reason, we feel that that point fundamentally falls. Furthermore, what we talked about on the back half of the opposition bench is the implicit effect already inherent in society of that religious leaders. If you are a Christian, as my partner has said, then you will already have the same views as the religious leader that is endorsing this political candidate. Furthermore, in modern society, we think that you should be able to retain your opinions while also being allowed to have open discourse, to have the other opinions in your church and in the religion. Now let's look at the second theme, this idea of the effects on the political system. Now, on the proposition bench, they said that if we pass this resolution, it'll just be inherently beneficial to the entire system, the entire political system, because if we allow religious leaders to promote their political candidates, this will essentially cause a regression in the political system, and then they will begin to cater to religious groups. But let's look at this in two ways. First of all, they're fundamentally misunderstanding the political system and the fact that leaders have checks of power. Stephen Harper has a cabinet. Stephen Harper has to address himself to a House of Representatives. There are checks of power on these people. Furthermore, they talked about the fact that the whip speaker of the proposition came up here and said that they will cater to these large groups of religious people, but this isn't representing the majority. If a majority of people are religious and you're catering to religious groups, then you're catering to the majority. And this is a more accurate representation of the democratic system, which is a system of looking at the majority of people. Furthermore, what they've said is it creates powerful voting blocks. But not every Jewish person is going to vote for the exact same candidate, and not every Jewish rabbi is going to have the same political views. If a Jewish rabbi, one rabbi supports this candidate, but the other rabbi supports this candidate based on economic policies, which might be different, then that's not always necessarily based on religion. And the fact is that religious leaders also have ideas, they also have thoughts too, and they are free and they're able to have open discourse with other people, as the extension speaker of the back half proposition brought up. So what we can see today is that on the proposition bench, they have fundamentally made the assumption, and I quote, that they have said that people are not allowed to people are not capable of making free choice if they have influences. But our response to this on the opposition is that people already buy into the religions that they have into, that they are part of. And if they don't, then they should have the ability to have free discourse and have these ideas be represented. So for these reasons, and for the reasons that the extension is brought up on the back half of opposition, we are proud to oppose. Thank you.